I'm Jason Lapidus, co-creator and artist of Group of 7 and Peregrines, and I am on a mission. Join me on my never-ending journey to continue leveling up. Welcome, comics readers, makers, and fans. In this episode, I'm taking a look at The Avengers in the Veracity Trap by Chip Kidd and Michael Cho to see what I can learn to help me get closer to mastering the craft. Keep in mind that this is not intended to be an exhaustive examination of the text or its history, but a brief look at one or two elements of the work that I can learn from. Maybe you can too. And don't miss the time-lapse drawing session at the end. But before we begin, you can support the channel by reading our books. 7 famous historical figures on a secret fictional mission to save the world. Group of 7, A Most Secret Tale by writer Chris Sanigan. Art by yours truly, Jason Lapidus. A team of spies undercover as frontline nurses who defend against the unknown and unbelievable. Peregrines, Flights, Fiends, and Fisticuffs. Again, by writer Chris Sanigan, and art by yours truly. Both are for sale in print and digital formats on our website, group of7comics.ca. There you can also subscribe to our newsletter and stay up to date on upcoming comics, appearances, and episodes. Thank you so much for your support. We'll be at Fan Expo Canada next weekend in downtown Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the lovely Metro Toronto Convention Centre for the country's largest fan convention. It's going to be a big one. I think we're at table Y27 in Artist Alley. Come say hello, pick up some fun comics-related merch. Hey, buy some original art. Let me know you watched this episode and tell me your thoughts on the content so far. If you haven't already checked out the other videos on the channel, Chris and I do an X-Men live stream read-through of the comics that became classic. We just read Uncanny X-Men 241 last week. This week, I think we're going to be either reading the next chapter of Inferno, which might be X-Factor or might be X-Men. I'm unclear at the moment. But we do all the voices. We have a good laugh. There's a lively chat that participates in the conversation. And we've been going through every issue since Giant Size X-Men #1 in 1975. And we're about 180 episodes into that series. So check that one out. It's live on Tuesday nights, but of course it's streaming 24/7. The Avengers in the Veracity Trap. This is coming out from Abrams Books. And as far as I understand it, and again, feel free to correct me in the comments or add some more information in the comment section below. Abrams has a publishing agreement with Marvel Comics. You see there's the logo for Marvel Arts there. On the side, we can see it's Abrams Comic Arts and Marvel on the spine. So as far as I understand, Abrams has permission to use Marvel characters. It's a 64-page hardcover book in a format that Marvel doesn't publish. They're working in territory that doesn't infringe upon Marvel's periodical format of, stapled comics or perfect bound graphic novels. It leaves Abrams a nice opportunity to work with creators who want to make self-contained books. One of the previous books to come out under this format was Fantastic Four Full Circle by Alex Ross. I've yet to read this one. I just picked it up a couple weeks back. But you can see they're the same size in their original format here. But these are things that would not and could not be published within the regular limitations of the content that Marvel Comics publishes regularly. These are on high-quality paper. Doesn't really impact the monthly collector. Beautiful cover from Michael Cho. You'll notice that this is Loki here. He has been pushed into the background. He's behind this round energy shape. And the technique used is, instead of having black line or something close to a black line, a black holding line around your character and their colors at full saturation, choosing like a brown color hold instead of a black hold around the character, and then lighten up or desaturate those colors, and it pushes the character right back. Even though, of course, this is a completely flat surface, it's printed on that flat surface, it's creating the illusion of 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional surface. The comic actually starts right here on the end papers. We have some dialogue. Yes! Must be Loki. I'm happy that I was able to get this one signed by both Chip and Michael at an event this week. As well, inside, the dust jacket is reversible. So you have the spine here again, and you can kind of choose whichever cover you want to have, whatever figures you want on the outside. The story takes place in a version of 1964 Marvel. In the comics, if you're deep into continuity and details, you know that the Hulk leaves the team before Captain America joins the team. But it doesn't really matter because they're having fun and it's a good book. So if we care about, you know, the monthly periodical continuity, it is going to negatively impact the opportunity to tell a good story. Kirby's name is going to come up over and over again. So much so that, you know, Michael Cho gives a dedication for Jack Kirby, who built universes with just a pencil. I love it. Speed lines. I love speed lines or action lines, motion lines. When to put them in color and when to put them in black. Let's see what Michael chooses to do as we go through this book. We start with a splash, and then we get a 2-page spread. That's also a real Kirby note. And then a proper 2-page spread. My goodness, look at this thing. Gorgeous. And again, those action lines, motion lines, speed lines are in color. Usually in older comics, this would have been done, of course, with black as well. You can see it has that brush aesthetic. So Michael Cho is either inking that or he's doing it digitally. And he could, of course, select that area or that layer if it's own layer, and then change the color of it. Dust is also done in a color hold line, not a black line. And that really helps push it back and make it a softer edge. Whereas the characters' lines are much bolder, intentionally, as is the landscape. Thinking about the art referencing Kirby's aesthetic, almost like an idealized version of Kirby's art through Michael Cho's lens and through 21st century aesthetic. So Cho is doing things that Kirby would not have had time for and doing them in a way that Kirby would not have done, but it relies on the language that Kirby invented. When I first saw this, my jaw dropped. The idea of introducing a character in a splash page is not an original notion, but by calling it a Marvel Masterwork pinup and having the character's name, giving him a splash moment, it is a real nod to what used to be at the end of many comic books to fill pages, where the story came short. Those Marvel Masterwork pinups were real classics. This just reminds me of a movie like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where when a character comes on screen for the first time, they get a freeze frame or a slow motion or a moment where it introduces them. A lot of heist movies do this too. So I imagine Iron Man shows up, he gets a freeze frame or a slow-mo moment, and his name comes on screen. It's very Batman Brave and the Bold. They did that too. Very cool. I love that pose. I love that there's like pressure on that knee kind of caving in as he's pushing back to plant his feet as strong as he can, so to brace himself for those 2 pulsar beams. Ooh, Captain America joins. I can just see like the words coming in this, or like this way and that way, and meeting in the middle as it freezes on Captain America in this amazing action pose as he's about to take a swing. Minor writer critique here. Cap says, 2 against 1 hardly seems fair. Why don't you sit this inning out, handsome? As he kicks the guy in the face. Uh-oh, we got a runner rounding third base. Okay, so we've got a baseball thing here. That's great. Beautiful. And he hits the guy, and he's out. And Cap hits him in the face with the shield. And then he says, looks like 2 more stepping up to bat. And then it's interrupted. Hey, Cap, mind if we cut in? Which is a dance reference. Like he should have, mind if we pinch hit? You know, like if you're gonna say baseball and then you're gonna substitute, stay with baseball. That's my only criticism of the writing, is he just changes references from baseball to dance. Panel count on each page is quite low, which speeds up the reading and allows Michael Cho to have a little more room to play with each panel. I love a good open panel. Very nice. The team has a great look. You got your flyer, man of action, wild man, giant man, another flyer. We talk about this on our X-Men show a lot too, about like having a neat visual dynamic. And again, if you put that in silhouette, you kind of know who everybody is. That's good cartooning and good character design. I'm bumping up against the lettering a little bit, where this does feel like it's done in that Artie Simek style, old Marvel style. But it feels like maybe it wasn't integrated into the art at early enough a stage. It feels like it was something separate a little bit. Speed lines done in dark green. Looks really good. I mentioned in an earlier episode, I think it was actually the first episode in the series, where I was talking about lighting and color. Colorist Dave Stewart was using straight lines, straight edges on color over shapes that are, of course, curved. And I really like the look of it. I don't know why I didn't understand. I don't understand it here too. Across Thor's arm, across Thor's face. Michael Cho explained that if the line art is doing enough to express the form, the color doesn't have to really worry about it. So because we get the form so clearly here, you can attack it with a straight line in light and color, and it actually looks interesting. It seems to work for some reason. It's that contrast between straight and curve that keeps the form looking energetic, lively, and interesting. So this is something Kirby would not have been able to do. If you look here, this bottom panel on the left page, the layering of these effects through color. So the Kirby dots are done, or Kirby Crackle is done in color. Speed lines and energy lines behind it are done in color. It's layers of color, and he would not have had access to that. And it works amazingly well. Thor is going through a portal from this world of 1964 Avengers into the world of the artists making this book. So he is going from color into inked art. It's like just been scanned, and the levels haven't been adjusted, so you can see through a lot of the ink line, and then into the pencil and fading into white. Really beautiful idea of, as a character moves through worlds, from the imaginary into kind of the hand drawn, that he's sort of getting taken apart in those stages. My second time bumping up against this lettering. The lettering goes from color just into digital blue line. This should have gotten a hand-drawn effect. I know it wasn't ever done hand-drawn. It was always done digitally, but fake it for this, because this doesn't match this, and it should. This matches this just fine, but this does not match that. And Thor comes out on the other end as he's put back together, and he's trying to explain where he's been. And as he's gone through the portal, he realizes sort of the truth of his nature, and he says, "By the gods, we're not real. Nay, 'tis the veracity vortex, and it has shown me the truth." Here's that straight line of light too, right there and there. Because Cho's art is already expressing the curve of Thor's form. The light is allowed to, it actually is aesthetically beautiful to have it go straight. I wish I had learned that before I just colored 8 or 9 pages of comics. But of course, you'll see this in my next work after, I'm quite certain. So here we get to meet Chip Kidd and Michael Cho as they are working in Michael's studio on this story. And I got a shouts to my beloved city of Toronto. There's the CN Tower. And there's a little bit of a different rendering technique in the real world. Also, panels don't have borders. They're clean white, no line. There's a little bit more of a gradient, like more gray gets used, and the Avengers come through. Beautiful. Look at this, man. And then again, that magenta and cyan gets used as they go through the veracity vortex. More fun, crazy Atlas era Kirby monsters. Right before Marvel got its rebrand. In 1961, it was called Atlas, and a lot of the comics Kirby worked on were monster comics. Again, one of the reasons making the jump into Fantastic Four was not that big a stretch for Kirby. Took his work on Challengers of the Unknown, which was a team of sort of 4 explorers on the frontiers of science and adventure, and the monster books he was already doing, put them together and you get the FF. And the colors in this world, the palette is different. You don't really get these colors in the superhero world. He's more natural and subdued. And no joke, although Chip was wearing a Michael Cho Iron Man t-shirt. He brought that, he was wearing that jacket. And the two guys talked about designing like Chip's look in this. And Michael did not get notes from Chip on how to draw him. He just knew exactly what to go for. And it was, I guess, a fun coincidence that Chip had been wearing that jacket. See, like straight lines on that color. Beautiful. And there's their next adventure on the next end papers. Do you think you're going to pick up a copy of The Veracity Trap? Did you enjoy this? Are you going to try and give it a read? Would you like them to make a sequel, or this team to work again with maybe another team of characters? Perhaps the first version of the X-Men? That might be really cool. Let me know in the comments section below. I've definitely learned a few key things from reading this comic, but what about you? What have you learned that I haven't mentioned? Click like on the video, subscribe to the channel, share it if you can. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you next week on another episode of Leveling Up.
Leveling up, leveling up, leveling up.